Okay, short reloading videos. This is part 2 of why your gun does not have Glock Bulge and why Glock Bulge is essentially just an urban legend anymore. So, like I was saying in the other video, if you haven't seen the first or the part 1 video, go down to the description and watch that if you are interested in why, how you can get a Glock Bulge and why you're not going to have it. This video is all about 3 main ways that you can fail a plunk test that look like a Glock Bulge, and when you go on to Reloader WebMD online, why you're going to get so many comments telling you that, oh, that's what it is. Well, it isn't. And I'm not a Glock guy. I have some Glocks. I really enjoy how simple they are. There's other guns that are really nice, that are nicer. You know, even the M&P, in my opinion, the trigger is so nice on that. Sights are nice. So I'm not defending Glock. Glock wasn't the only company that had this problem. But they had a lot of guns out there, and they had this problem early on, and they've fixed it. So everyone has. So here you go. So you're going to fail a plunk test, and what's going to happen, this is a reload, and you can see that this reload passes plunk test. If you don't know how to interpret the results of a plunk test, Google plunk test, and you will get diagrams, images showing you how to diagnose this. But suffice to say, if you can see a whole lot of case wall like that, that is not good, guys. I would not run that. You know, flush, the end of the case wall coming down and being flush, that's a pretty good spot to be. Okay? Way up here, way down here, whatever. These spots, it gets a little iffy kind of down in there. But this is obvious. So how are you going to get this? How are you going to get the case to stick up so far? All right, well, the first way is you crimped it with a taper crimp while you were seating, and you got a long case. You got a case that was longer than the one you set up your taper crimp on. These are 4-year-old reloads of mine, okay? I don't shoot a lot of 9mm anymore. Every single one of these was put into the barrel before they got put in the box. Okay, I have to do a plunk test because I'm stuck taper crimping in a separate operation after I seat, but still I'm stuck taper crimping cases that are different length, all right? I've said in my other videos, I don't have the setups required. There's multiple setups that would do it, that would get all these cases to be the exact same length. All right, so I live with these being multiple lengths. A lot of guys probably are. They're probably not resizing these to or trimming them to a certain length because they either didn't know that that was going to be needed, or they're not necessarily set up yet to do it, or whatever their reasoning, okay? But I know that my taper crimp is going to vary because these cases' lengths vary. If you bought a Lee factory crimp die, the collet style, it is pretty independent of the case length. In fact, it is completely independent of the case length. But taper crimp, a lot of guys are probably taper crimping while they're seating. They set up their taper crimp for a case that's like a medium length, and then they get to a longer case, and we're talking maybe a couple thousandths, 1,000th, 2,000ths longer, and that's going to cause them to balloon out the neck of the case because as the bullet's getting seated down and then we're squeezing the case in from the sides, something's got to give, and what happens is the brass buckles. All right, and it may not buckle a lot. You may not be able to necessarily see it easily. Well, your barrel will tell you. You know, you'll be sitting way up here, and then you're gonna go, well, I don't know how to interpret that result. So you go online and Glock Bulge. Okay, probably not. So the chances are almost zero it's a Glock Bulge. So what I would suggest you do, if you really think it's a Glock Bulge, is size a case and drop it in your barrel. And if it sits up way too high after it's been sized, maybe start inspecting that webbing area for a bulge, but that's not going to happen. You're going to probably drop in too far because your case isn't really set up yet. So don't get worried about that either. You know, you got a long way to go from just resizing this case to a loaded round. Okay, so that's the first thing, is you're taper crimping a longer case while you're seating the bullet. Okay, number 2, not enough taper crimp. Maybe get a short case. So you're not going to take out the bell that you put in, the expansion that you put into this mouth enough, because you're not going to get enough taper crimp to take it away. So what's going to happen? Guess what? It's going to look exactly the same. All right, it's going to manifest the same way. You're sitting, you know, you're going to sit too high with your taper, with your shell in there, because not enough taper crimp. Okay, that's 2 ways that look the same, and they look like a Glock Bulge, but neither are a Glock Bulge. All right, here we go. Number 3. What if you don't seat that bullet in deep enough into the case, right? So what if it's sitting, that's a 40, tricky. It might be sitting in here, going down in here, and it might be sitting up, possibly. And it depends on the shape of the bullet, nose. Basically, you're gonna start interfering with the rifling in the barrel before the case is fully in. And what might happen is you might have the bullet sticking out on the side here, or you may have like a wad cutter. Who knows? Maybe you're messing around with wad cutters. Basically, you're going to run into the rifling. So what you'll see in that case, first of all, the bullet's going to sit up high again. Okay, that's going to be a third way that looks just the same. But what'll happen is, if you think that could be the problem, push down a little bit, kind of tap her in, and then look at the bullet and see, are you getting engraving marks from the rifling on probably near the base of the bullet, near the ogive or the ogive or whatever the heck, how you ever say it. All I ever seen it is written, so I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like Latin to me. But look here, see if you got any marks from the rifling. It'll be obvious because you'll see kind of periodic marks. Okay, measure the bullet. Is it in far enough? All right, those are 3 ways that the bullet will fail a plunk test sitting up too high that are not Glock Bulge, for goodness sake. All right, the final thing is if it falls in too far and it goes well past where it should. Now, obviously, that's not Glock Bulge because it went in too far. Well, most likely, you over-crimped it, especially if you weren't crimping while seating. If you crimped afterwards with a crimp die, or you revisited with a factory crimp die, a collet type from Lee, or if you just kind of got lucky and managed to over crimp the case without smashing everything together down at this junction, you might have over crimped it and you've got excessive head space, which is not what you want. All right. Again, you can go online and find examples of Plunk Test results. All I wanted to show you was there's lots of ways to make the case look like it's suffering Glock Bulge, but it isn't Glock Bulge. And I'm here to tell you, Glock Bulge is a myth, and I hope we just busted it, okay?